On the ice have been less than expected.
Now with the All-Star game and Olympic breaks on the horizon, the games grow in importance. If the Blues are to contend with the best teams in the West, the time for them to come together as a team is now. Tonight, the Blues host the Nashville Predators next on National Hockey Night. Well, a happy holidays and happy new year from everyone at National Hockey Night. And tonight, we have a Central Division matchup as we wrap up 2001. The St. Louis Blues playing host to the Nashville Predators. Hi, everybody, and welcome to National Hockey Night. I'm Dave Strader. We all know the list of the elite teams in the West. After all, Colorado, Dallas, and Detroit have accounted for 5 of the last 6 Stanley Cup titles. The big question here for the St. Louis Blues and their fans, when will they be able to join those elite teams? Joined now by the coach, Jim Schoenfeld. And Jim, of course, a lot of question marks with the St. Louis Blues, and we'll have an opportunity to get to several of those during the course of the game. But one question mark has been the play of their captain.
Well, by most people's standards, Chris Pronger is having a pretty good hockey season, but by his standard, he's having a subpar season. And as Chris Pronger goes, so go the St. Louis Blues. Last season, the big guy missed 31 games due to injuries, and there was a dramatic difference in the win-loss percentage. With Pronger in the lineup, they won 7.16% of their hockey games. With him out of the lineup, a winning percentage of only .403. So that is a great difference. I do think Pronger will have a strong second half, and therefore I think the St. Louis Blues will have a strong second half. But right now, Dave, they are a team that's looking for an identity. They are not gelling yet with all the new faces they've added in the last couple of years.
You mentioned that Pronger was out because of injuries. He had a knee problem and a wrist problem. There's a lot of talk that maybe he's not close to being 100% yet.
Well, I've been told that he's trying to keep his body pieced together till after the Olympic break so he can play in the Olympics, and then he'll take a rest. We'll have to wait and see. This is all just speculation.
Well, this will be a test tonight against an expansion team, the Nashville Predators, in their 4th season in the National Hockey League. We've seen a lot of different organizations take different routes to try to find success. Obviously, the way things have gone in December for Nashville, they're doing something right.
Well, they've got a pretty good architect. David Poyle is a very patient man. He had a game plan, and they're sticking to it. This is a team that has drafted well. They've traded well. They've done a real good job of developing their young talent. But their greatest asset may be the ability of head coach Barry Trotz to get the absolute best out of any player that puts on a Predator uniform. Case in point, last night against the best team in the National Hockey League, Detroit Red Wings, the Wings up 2-0, just over 4 minutes to go. And then Vladimir Orszag cuts that lead in half. A power play, the goaltender pulled. Vitaly Yekmenev ties it at 2s. And then in overtime, Bubba Berenswijk, who's been called up to replace an injured defenseman, gets the game winner. So everybody in the organization pulling in the same direction in Nashville.
Who else but a guy with the nickname of Bubba would get the winning goal in Nashville? But the question for the Predators tonight, and a question for the St. Louis Blues, who is the goaltender? Is Fred Brathwaite number 1? Is it Brent Johnson? We'll take a closer look at that question right after this. Dave Strader back in St. Louis with Jim Schoenfeld. And Jim, as a coach, you know the last thing you want to worry about at the halfway mark of the season, your goaltending situation.
If the coaching staff is wondering, so are the players wondering. If they're wondering, they're not confident. There's a confident builder. Freddie Brathwaite coming off a 3-0 shutout. Great quickness. Small goaltenders have to rely on quickness and good body position. And right there you see the quickness once again of Brathwaite's pad.
Well, the Blues also need more from their top-end players like Keith Tkachuk and Doug Wade. The Blues and the Predators coming up next. Welcome back to Savvis Center. Welcome back to Savvis Center here in St. Louis. There, I couldn't hear it myself. I don't know if everybody else could, but that's a scary feeling. Savvis Center in St. Louis.
It was a blessing for some of us for a little while.
All right. And there is the question being answered. Who would be the starting goaltender? Fred Brathwaite, as we expected, coming off the shutout win against the Montreal Canadiens.
Well, he's making a real strong bid for the #1 job here in St. Louis. And it's a job that Coach Joel Quenneville would like to see resolved. And he would like to see someone really step up and take it. It's not one of those situations where you want someone to win it by default.
Thomas Bocoon getting the starting nod for relieving Mike Dunham, who has played the last 9, and we'll talk a little bit more about Vokoun as we are underway. And that puck by Corey Stillman is flipped over the short glass and out of play. And here's a look at Thomas Vokoun, who had his last victory, his last game, I should say, December the 2nd, his last victory just after Thanksgiving, Jim.
Yeah, the last game he played was a 4-2 loss to the the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. But he has one shutout. He has a pretty respectable save percentage at .909, and it's a situation where when he's in the net, the team has to play a little better game. They get Dunham in there, they expect to win. They take a little more chances offensively, they score more goals. So they got to get some goals for Vokoun in the net, and they can come out with a victory again tonight.
Second game of a stretch of 5 games in 7 days, with the defending champion Avalanche coming into Nashville for an early game Tuesday as the puck was played with a high stick. So that's probably part of the reason for giving Dunham a rest in this one tonight. Barry Trotz very confident with the way Mike Dunham has played, but feels that he can get the job done tonight with Vokoun.
Well, the Preds have improved in each of their first 3 seasons under the guidance of Mr. Trotz, and this is their 4th season, and they're hungry right now, David. They're very hungry to make the playoffs. They're 8 points out at this point in time, and they seem to be getting better as the season goes along. And I know the expectations from David Poile, Barry Trotz, and the rest of the staff are not to have a good season and to be close, but to have a good season and to be one of the top 8 in the Western Conference.
63 points in their first year in the NHL, the Predators. 70 in their second year, 80 last year. And bidding to close in on the 500 mark, as they are just 2 games under with the run they've had here in the month of December, as the play was whistled down for a 2-line pass, and so we will go back inside the St. Louis zone for a faceoff.
Joel Quenneville looking for 2 things from his team. Number 1 is consistency. He would like to see a consistent effort game in and game out, and the second would be added offensive production. They're down almost a half a goal on production from last year to this year, and that is a huge statistic. And it's a team that is expected to score a lot of goals. Some good acquisitions in the last 2 seasons, strong offensive players, but so far this year they haven't put it all together.
Now Doug Waite playing on a line here with rather that's Dimitra on a line with Tkachuk and Dallas Drake, as this is going to be whistled down for icing. Pavel Dimitra has been the second center on this St. Louis team, normally a winger, and for now it looks okay, Jim, but I know there's a lot of concern come playoff time, the long grind, whether or not this guy is really a number 2 center on a Stanley Cup contender.
Well, he and Keith Tkachuk have been the only 2 forwards that have really performed with any level of consistency. Right now they're tied for the lead in team scoring, but you're absolutely right. I mean, you need your centerman, your number 1 centerman, to be a horse, to play against the opposing team's best centerman, to get the job done defensively and offensively.
Zip Ronning, number 7, out there now for the Nashville Predators, along with his line mate Scott Hartnell. Greg Johnson, number 22, the center on this line, as Mike Keane has stood up at the Nashville blue line. Now Mark Eaton able to clear for the Predators, but the Blues look to get it right back in. Bubba Behrensweg out there. He was one of the heroes in the comeback victory over the Detroit Red Wings last night. Detroit led that game 2-0 with just over 4 minutes to go in regulation, and the Predators came back and won it in overtime. A turnover here by the Blues, and now Ronning has it on the backhand, sends it out to the line. Eaton rolls it across. Behrensweg is there at the point. Sends it in deep for Ronning. Now it comes to Hartnell. Quick shot. That hit a leg in front. Hartnell again, and Brathwaite was down. But the Blues clear it to the line. Not out. Held in by Eaton. Predators played at home last night. The Blues played Friday night here against the Montreal Canadiens. That 3-0 shutout for Freddie Brathwaite. Now Jamal Mayers plays it around, and Blues just looking to escape the zone. Finally, it is sent down the ice. And we will have an icing call here on the touch up by Mark Eaton. That'll give us a chance to go to tonight's trivia question. The Blues have recorded 4 shutouts in their last 10 games, but who is the Blues all-time shutout leader? Log on to ESPN.com. There's going to be several candidates. Glenn Hall, perhaps. Greg Millen, Mike Liut, some of the names, or Curtis Joseph.
I know. Call me, folks. I'll let you know, and you can win the big prize. Have we made that announcement? We're giving prizes in the new year for the winners of this?
You must have come up with something, because it's the first I've heard of it.
Log on to ESPN. You can make yourself a lot of money, folks. It's the more people we get to call in, the bigger the prize is. So call your neighbors. Have them call too.
Carlos Scrastons now. Martin Erad out there for the Nashville Predators. Not a lot of household names on this Nashville team. Not one of the highest payrolls in the NHL, but as Jim Schoenfeld pointed out, boy, they get the most out of everybody that puts on that uniform. One of the most impressive things over the 9-game stretch that Mike Dunham has been in goal is they have not given up more than 2 goals in any one of those games as this puck over the glass and out of play. You give up 2 or less, and Jim, you're going to be in just about every National Hockey League game. There's Mike Dunham getting the rest tonight.
That's a mindset we're talking about when a team is confident in their goaltender. They go onto the ice knowing, look, we score 1 or 2 tonight. There's a real good chance we're going to get at least a point out of this game. We score 3, we're probably going to win. That's the way the Predators feel when that man right there, Mike Dunham, is in the net. Conversely, the Blues, who are looking for the #1 goaltender, don't have that same amount of confidence. And they're hoping that either Brathwaite or Johnson will step up, be the undisputed #1 guy, and they can go into the game with the same mindset, play a confident game, take some chances offensively, and put the puck behind the opposing goaltender instead of always worrying about things in the defensive zone.
That play offside at the St. Louis blue line, and there's the captain, Chris Pronger. We talked about having a decent season by most standards, but not by his.
Well, he set the bar so high. He was the league MVP, Norris Trophy winner, is the league's best defenseman, and it just is not going the big guy's way. And sometimes you look at a team like St. Louis, and you almost wonder, you know, they led the league. They won the President's Trophy, got knocked out the first round of the playoffs a couple of years ago to San Jose. Last year they had a couple of rounds. You wonder if they're just revving their engines, waiting for the last 6 weeks of the season to really get things going, trying to save the body a little bit to have that long ride in the springtime deep into the playoffs.
Bokun is going to cover up here as Reed Lowe was in the vicinity looking for a loose puck.
I'll tell you a story about Chris Pronger. I mean, the big guy, for the 6th consecutive Christmas, he along with his wife Lauren, they pushed carts full of toys from room to room at Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. And Pronger said many of the kids didn't even know who he was. To him, he's just the big guy with the gifts. And he loves being known as just that. His wife's reward, well, she said the expression that she sees on Chris's face when he's with the children is payment enough. And Chris and his wife Lauren are expecting their first. She's in her 4th month, so he'll have a lot of time to spend with kids his own. So I would think that with his income, he could lavish a lot of gifts on that little one.
You know, the Blues have been very involved in this community, and they do a lot of sponsored visits. But you're right, when Chris Pronger and his wife went, he didn't have the Blues jersey on. It wasn't about being a St. Louis Blue. Chris Pronger just wanted to do what he felt was the right thing to help some very unfortunate kids and their families have a little brighter holiday season. Cale Hulse did a good job holding up his man, and we have a whistle from Bill McCreary away from the puck, and we'll have to wait and see what that is. While we remind you, this week ESPN's Wednesday Night Hockey, presented by Nextel, features Dominic Hasek, Brett Hull, the league-leading Red Wings, as they will play host to Paul Kariya, the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. Wednesday Night Hockey's weekly 10 best will count down the top moments of the year 2001. It all begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
There's Cale Hulse in the penalty box for interference. We played about 4 minutes of this first period, and I think we've had about a dozen whistles, and there's the interference call on Hulse. So a good chance for the Blues to get some offensive flow going. The crowd is not only sitting on their hands, their mouths are completely shut unless they're eating. No one in the building is into this contest yet.
Well, the St. Louis Blues on the power play, there you see their overall numbers, but they have been much better than that, better than 25% on home ice. And the penalty killing of the Nashville Predators is one of the best in the league, but they've done most of their efficient work at home as well, so we'll see how they fare. They have struggled on the road killing penalties. Here's the Blues numbers. Look at that, 25.3. They rank first at home and just over 7%. Hard to believe it would be that much different. Tkachuk sends it across. Kavanaugh picks it up, sends it back in, and Young could not get a stick on it. Tkachuk just let it go along the boards, gets the pass. Now Tkachuk wants to send it across, blocked in front, loose puck. Bokun was down, and Young couldn't get a stick on it. Back to the line, Kavanaugh drills a low shot, that hit a skate, comes to Young. Very patient with it. Now snaps it across. Here's Doug Weight. Tries to put it to the front. It's off a skate of Tkachuk and just wide of Bokun. It comes to Weight again on the near side. Out to the line. But Gibson driving a save by Bokun. And the puck cleared all the way down the ice by Greg Johnson.
Good looking power play by the St. Louis Blues. Good puck movement. Tkachuk camped out in front of Bokun where he does so much damage. Real good passing. Almost cooking for the Blues.
Here's Daniel Corso. Had a goal a couple of games back against Chicago in a 3-1 loss. They need guys like him to pick it up as well. Demetra wanted to get the puck to the front of the net, but it rolled off the end of his stick. Now it comes to McGinnis again, quickly across for Pronger. And he tried that low snap shot, but it was deflected away effectively there by Greg Clausen on the penalty kill, and it's out of play.
One thing about the St. Louis Blue power play that makes it so difficult to defend against, they have so many weapons. You're looking at one of them right there, Al McGinnis, and then on the other point is Chris Pronger. Both men shoot lasers from the blue line. You have the good passing skill of Dougie Wade. You have Scott Young, who can come off the wall with a great shot. Kachuk in front of the net, tipping, screening, banging, and rebounds. So if you shut down the high guys, they can get the job done low. So you really have to have 4 active penalty killers when you're trying to defend against the Blues.
Scranston's now for the Predators, able to clear it down the ice, and Brathwaite will settle it down there as we're 5.5 into this one, and you see the time remaining on the St. Louis Blues power play. And the move Corso was tied up there by Tom Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald back in the lineup for the second game. He played against Detroit last night after missing a couple with injuries. Predators without their high-scoring defenseman Andy Delmore, as well as tough guy Stu Grimson. And Scott Walker also on the injured list. They have killed 30 of their last 31, the Nashville Predators. With Holtz out of the box, it comes back to the line. Pressure still on by the Blues, but the shot there by Pronger was blocked well wide of the net. Corey Stillman. Good job by Bill Holder to stay on him, and now Cale Holtz will get it to center ice and drive it in on Brathwaite. As both coaches look to make some changes. David Legwand, number 11, former second overall pick, is out there centering his line for the Predators. And this is going to be icing on the touch-up by Berenswig. Well, we get a happy holiday greeting from a tough guy for the St. Louis Blues, Reed Lowe.
Hi, this is Reed Lowe from the St. Louis Blues. On behalf of myself and all the rest of my teammates, we'd like to wish you and yours the best in the new year. Or else.
Okay. Okay. I'll take Chris's buddy. You playing that?
Why not?
Look up, see blue. Labatt Blue.
Devo. Good hands.
Oh, thanks. Instinct.
And we are back here at the Savage Center in St. Louis. Blues and the Predators scoreless as this play whistled offside at the St. Louis blue line. Scott Hardnell, one of the young players in this Nashville organization, just 19 years of age.
Boy, do they like him in Nashville. He is big, he is strong, he goes to the net. He's the type of guy that'll take a run at Chris Pronger tonight. He's already surpassed last year's offensive numbers. 19-year-old sophomore, second year in the league. The Predators have a lot of good young players just like that man right there, and that's why their future looks so very bright.
Regina, Saskatchewan. I imagine you get big and strong shoveling a lot of snow like your old town of Buffalo is right now.
Well, they're lucky to have all that snow. I mean, here I am in the desert in Arizona, and sunburn on my ears, sunburn on my nose from golfing, so they get the nice shade there. They're out in the cold, fresh air, working their muscles. They're very lucky, those folks from Buffalo.
At least you could have said you were out mowing the lawn or doing something like that. Here comes McGinnis joining the rush, and misfired as it goes wide of the far post.
You don't have lawns in the desert. It's just gravel.
Ronning now trying to get control in the neutral zone. Hands it off Legwand. Goes rink wide. Hartnell gets to it now. Sends it back to the line. Eaton sends it back in deep off the end board. And Demetra got there and knocked it free. It's picked up by Kachuk, and he'll just flip it out to center ice. Dallas Drake trying to get control there, and Drake will hammer it in wide of Bokun. Berenswig, former University of Michigan star, and another former Michigan star, Mike Van Ryn, playing it for the St. Louis Blues. The two of them overlapped a couple of seasons for Red Berenson and the Wolverine program. Now Brett Hauer for the Predators had it stripped from behind as Jamal Mayers made the play. Mayers was knocked down. Going to be another penalty here against the Predators. Delayed call. Mike Keane bounces off the check, and as Hauer touches the puck, we get the whistle for the hooking call against Brett Hauer.
Jamal Mayers, knowing the whistle was going to be blown as soon as the Predators touched the puck, continued his pursuit to a big check against the boards on Howard. So now the Nashville Predators, who are dynamite at penalty killing at home. And you see the hook right there as Jamal Mayers bites the dust. Dynamite at home and 79.4% on the road. So they've got their work cut out for them against a Blue power play that should be very, very hungry. I mean, you know, we can go through the numbers. Blues great at home, bad in the road in the power play. Preds great at home, bad in the kill. But every game has its own life. And right now the Preds are 1-for-0 killing the penalty. 1-for-1, sorry, killing the penalty.
Now it comes to McGinnis on the near circle, sends it out to the line. Pronger toward the net, save made by Vokoun with the left pad. Predators got it to the line, but not out. Here is Young, sending it back. Dangerous short pass there, but the good work of Fitzgerald, able to knock it away.
Fitzgerald returned to the lineup in Detroit last night. He was out with a rib injury, so he's a real welcome addition. Great defensive player, very gritty, and a good leader for the Nashville Predators.
Scott Young moves it along the boards. Now Tkachuk is there. Along with Waite, McGinnis sends it across. Pronger, low shot, save, rebound was right there. And cleared away by the Predators again. Alert on defense. That was Holder. Here is Waite. Sends it rink wide, and Young trying the one-timer. And just fanned on it. Greg Johnson had a little bit of time and space here. And he'll finally send it deep into the St. Louis zone.
Folks, if you get a chance, keep an eye on Keith Tkachuk in front of the Predators net. He's going to eliminate at least one player. Usually a defenseman has to go and try to move Tkachuk out of the way. Sometimes the weak side forward will come to help, and that leaves the other blue forwards and defensemen wide open.
Blues get control. Back out to the line. A shot fired over top of the net by Havanoff. Now McGinnis moves in, sends it to the net. Save, made, rebound. Lustig score! Pavel Demitra got a couple of pops at it. And the Blues on the power play with a 1-0 lead.
The Predators a little bit guilty of puck chasing on this penalty kill. It's good to be aggressive, but you still have to maintain your coverage. Everybody going out to McGinnis. And there's Dimitri left one-on-one in front of the net. Dimitri has to be put on the seat of his pants. No sense trying to block that shot. You see the Predators, Cale Hulse, just a little late there. Dimitri gets one crack at it, controls the rebound, and bangs it past Thomas Vokoun. So not a real good start for Vokoun in net. Talking to David Poile before the game, he was hoping that the Preds would really play a strong game in front of Thomas Vokoun. He's been working hard. He deserves a big effort out of his teammates, and he was kind of left hung out to dry on that one.
Blues a good record when Dimitra manages to get a goal. And Pavel Demitra with just one goal in his previous 13 games. But as you pointed out, Jim Schoenfeld, every game has its own story and own character. So Demitra puts that behind him and starts a new streak.
Absolutely. And he is quite capable of going game after game. Not maybe a goal, but getting a point in consecutive games, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He is that skilled a hockey player, especially if he's playing with a guy like Tkachuk, who goes to the net, can bang in rebounds, who's going to eliminate that defenseman, as we mentioned, because Dimitra is highly skilled. You give him some time and some room, he can be very dangerous with the puck.
Now the St. Louis Blues with a 1-0 lead as Cale Hulse goes back to play it immediately. Varlamov is in there on the forecheck for the Blues. And it comes to center ice, and Martin Erat now will send it in deep behind Brathwaite. He settles it down. Now Jamal Mayers trying to clear it up the board. Havanoff paired on defense right now with Jeff Finley. And Havanoff who assisted along with McGinnis on the goal. It is sent in deep as Keane bumping there with Timonen, and it is cleared around but held in. Good hustle by Van Ryn, who just came off the bench. Now Jamal Mayers back to the line. Van Ryn holding it in. Keane now trying to get it to Varlamov. Jamal Mayers there as well. This line cycling well. Now the puck is chopped up in the air. Jamal Mayers gets to it. Hulse trying to stay with him. Rides him all the way to the end board, but Mayers keeping the play alive. Now Varlamov getting a little bit of a pick there from Keane. Sends it back in deep, and Keane behind the net tries to reverse his direction. And a good job as the Predators stayed on it. And it is Erat who backhands it deep into the St. Louis zone. Under 9 minutes remaining here in the first period. And Parker, nobody open, just trying to bang it off the glass. It's knocked away from Corso. Recovered here by Greg Johnson. He sends it in deep. Looking for Hartnell, but Pronger able to use that long reach and get a stick on it. Now Van Ryn being bothered by Johnson. Finally, the Blues able to clear the zone. Reed Lowe looking to put a hit on somebody. Runs into Mark Eaton over in front of that Blues bench. And Pronger taps it off the board. Center ice. It's picked up by Corso. Far side for Reed Lowe. Lowe drops it back, but it's Hartnell that gets there for the Predators. Outlets it for running off of his stick. And the Blues regain possession. We're at Savas Center in St. Louis here on ESPN2's National Hockey Night. Dave Strader, Jim Schoenfeld, and the rest of our ESPN2 National Hockey Night crew wishing you all the best of the holiday season. Looking forward to a happy, healthy, and hopefully prosperous 2002. Cranston plays it around the board, but again, the Blues there. Second effort, it is the Predators that come up with it. Into the zone late with Scranton. It's knocked away, picked up by Tankrat. He threw it to the front of the net. David Legwand was there, but so was Bryce Salvador for the Blues. Held in at the line by Bill Holder. Now Tankrat getting in there. Yachmanev, number 43. Yachmanev had one of the goals in the comeback last night against Detroit. Gets it out to Scranton. Throws it across. Legwand with a low shot and a save made there by Brathwaite. Scranton holds it in again, takes a turn. Redirected save made by Brathwaite. An excellent redirection there by Yachmanev, and Brathwaite had to be quick on that one. No icing here. They wave it off.
Great positioning by Fred Brathwaite, and the goal made that look like an easy save, but believe me, folks, it wasn't. Good laser from the point. A great tip by Yachmanev. Fred Brathwaite beat the shot. Good position, disposed the pads, and made what look like an easy save.
Cranston plays it ahead, intercepted by Doug Waite. Waite playing on a line with Corey Stillman on his left and Scott Young on the right side. As Stillman plays it ahead, here's Young with it. Young trying to get it teed up, hands it off for Waite. Waite right out in front, hit the side of the net as he was trying to pull Vokoun off that left post.
Had waited another half second, he might have had it. Thomas was leaning big time to the middle of the net, but Dougie Waite just couldn't hang on to the puck without having it poked off his stick by one of the defenders. So a good effort by Dougie Waite, all for none.
Now caution will backhand it deep into the blue zone. Rick Johnson in there on the forecheck as well. 11 forwards, 7 defensemen dressed for Barry Trotz Club tonight, as they did last night against Detroit. We have a whistle, and an infraction has been spotted. We'll have to wait and see what it is. But on the power play, Pavel Demitra for the St. Louis Blues has given his club a 1-0 lead.
Come back to Savas Center, where the Blues go on another power play. You're going to see a high stick, an inadvertent high stick right there by Greg Clausen. And so he'll sit out the next 2 minutes, barring a goal by the Blues. And their power play is looking pretty darn good tonight. 1 for 2, and they're moving the puck extremely well against a penalty-killing unit that we told you, folks, has had a difficult time doing the job on the road.
Some hockey fans might remember seeing a replay earlier this year when Craig Berube caught Doug Waite in the throat. So Barry Trotz has to be a little bit concerned. It's always a concern playing back-to-back nights, and this is the 8th time that the Predators have had to do it. And what's really interesting with Nashville, Jim, is their record in the front end of the 1-1 is terrible.
Yeah,
they
right,
they actually do better on the second night. So maybe Nashville's kind of club that.
Well, they need 3 periods to warm up, I guess. But it is a good sign if you can win that second game of the doubleheader, back-to-back games, because it shows that you are a well-conditioned hockey team. And it also shows, because oftentimes those games are on the road, that you're a team that sticks well to your system and your format.
Here comes Corso with speed, and Vokoun just got a piece of that. Nashville will play 16 back-to-back games this year. As McGinnis now getting ready to tee it up, sends it across for Stillman. His rink-wide pass got deflected, and it is picked off and cleared by Bill Holder. And Greg Johnson, short-handed, just lobs one in on Brathwaite. Not much trouble handling that one. As we wind down toward 5 minutes remaining here in period number 1. Now Tkachuk with it. Challenged by Fitzgerald, but Tkachuk still got it into the zone. Hartnell picks it up, though, for the Predators. Sends it all the way down the ice.
Pretty good composure for a 19-year-old. He's under pressure. His possession of the puck, takes a look up the middle. Never put the puck up the middle unless you're 100% sure he is sure. It makes an easy clear for the Predators. No wonder they like this kid in Nashville.
Fitzgerald slaps it back into the blue zone. Doug Waite snaps it in deep. Vokoun could not get the stick on it. Well, the Predators get to it. Good job of going against the flow. And it is cleared all the way back out center ice. Regrouping, Scott Young sends it back in deep. Holder gets there. Kachuk puts a hit on him, and the clear is intercepted by Havanoff. He sends it across. And here's Finley with a shot that was knocked down in the far circle. It's taken away by Kachuk. Oh, he had weight on the near side, and the pass just didn't get through.
I think it was actually Scott Young that intercepted that, thinking the pass might have been for him. He just got the heel of his stick on it, took a little steam off that, so it never got to the intended receiver weight.
Young sends it down the ice, so this is going to be an icing call against the St. Louis Blues. So a big penalty kill by the Predators as downtown St. Louis, beautifully decorated for the holidays. St. Louis with a 1-0 lead. Under 4 minutes to go here in the first period. Power play goal, Pavel Demitra, the only scoring. Blues with a 1-0 lead over the Predators on a face-off deep in the St. Louis zone. Leg one, won it cleanly. Baronswig tries to get it to the net. It was blocked by Pronger. Pronger sends it along now. Finley has it. And Jeff Finley's outlet. Jamal Mayer's had his head down and picked off. Quick shot, save made off the stick of Tankrath by Brathwaite. Boy, did that puck get up in a hurry. And back the other way, Jamal Mayers. Mayers with two teammates into the zone, and it's deflected away over the glass and out of play.
Real good shot by Peter Tankrath, and he scored the first hat-trick of his career against the Chicago Blackhawks. That was a 5-2 victory for the Nashville Predators, and then a couple of nights later against the San Jose Sharks. Less than a minute to go, he scored the only goal of the game to pull the Preds to within a 1-1 tie. So right there, Peter Tankrath with a big shot showing why and how he can score goals. And only scored 6 his entire time with the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim in 66 games.
Yeah.
Has 4 already this year. And he's just getting warm, folks. Another young player. We're going to be saying it a lot tonight. A young player in the Nashville organization that has a very promising future.
Tankrath acquired earlier this year for Patrick Shellberg. Well, tomorrow, Lombardi Award winner Julius Peppers and the North Carolina Tar Heels trying to shut down Jason Campbell and the Auburn Tigers in the 2001 Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Action begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, only on ESPN. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. As we're well into the college football bowl season, and some of the biggest ones obviously yet to come. Face-off controlled cleanly by Greg Johnson, former Detroit Red Wing and Pittsburgh Penguin. Now here is Eaton with it, playing it along the boards. Chopped at by Yachmanev, comes to center ice. Could be a 2-on-1, but an excellent play by Varlamov. Boy, did he just reach back and knock that puck away and prevent the Predators from breaking cleanly. 2-on-1 from center ice in. Now Predators back the other way. Here is Vladimir Orzog, tries to send it to the front of the net, deflected all the way to the near boards. St. Louis player taken down to the edge. Quick shot there by Orzog. He looks up. He can't believe it. And Brathwaite had it in his glove. Well, we invite you to stay with us. Southwest Airlines intermission report. Bill Pito in the studios. Highlights of the Hurricanes and Capitals earlier today. Update on the status of Mario Lemieux, and Jeremy Roenick tells his story. All that coming up. Bill Pito.
Preds with some pretty good offensive zone pressure, winning the battle for the puck there. And there's the quick wrister of Vladimir Orzog and the quicker glove of Fred Brathwaite.
And you can tell from that angle that Orzog really thought he had that label, and he did. And Brathwaite using that quickness with the glove. Fitzgerald with an aggressive hit over by the St. Louis bench, and then he was challenged by
Salvador.
Salvador's going to get the penalty.
Good play by Fitzgerald. You see, you go after one of the stars. Pavel Demitra has his head down right here. There's Fitzgerald just finishing his check, and Salvador doing what a teammate has to do. He's coming in saying you can't hit our star player without having somebody right in your face. So there's Salvador. You know, right now, Joel Quenneville is saying, boys, that's a good penalty. We have to kill this one for him. Because there are certain points in the season, I strongly believe, where teammates have to stick up for teammates. Playoffs sometimes a different situation. You got to turn the other cheek. You've got to bite the bullet. But that is not a bad penalty right there by Bryce Salvador. Get in the face, not only of Fitzgerald, he's showing the entire Nashville team. You run our stars, someone's going to make you pay a price. So it's a big kill for the Blues for their teammate, who did a good job for his teammate Pavel Demitra, Bryce Salvador.
And the young man that was stepping in case Salvador kept it going, and the whistle didn't blow, was Hartnell, who
Exactly.
you pointed out was that kind of player. As you see the power play numbers for the Nashville Predators, penalty killing for the St. Louis Blues. It comes back to the line now. Timonen fakes a pass, goes to the net with it deflected just wide. Greg Johnson was in there. Johnson, Hartnell, and Cliff Ronning. As Timonen, who will play for Team Finland in the upcoming Olympics in Salt Lake. Now here's Ronning with it. Ronning looking out to the point. Behrenswijk has it. His shot perfectly blocked. Dallas Drake timed that to get down and block it along the ice. Pass to the side of the net, intercepted by Pronger, and he clears it all the way back into the Nashville zone. Dallas
Drake, the only shorthanded scorer for the St. Louis Blues this year, and last year they had a ton of shorthanded goals. So again, evidence of poor offensive production from Joel Quenneville and his guys.
Yeah, Nashville, like their penalty killing, although not as dramatic, much better at home than they are on the road. Now Havanoff with some time, waits, and now he makes sure on the clear as Mike Eastwood, who is back in the lineup. Tyson Nash getting tonight off. Good job by Eastwood to disrupt the Predators' flow on the power play. Here's Legwand, and it's knocked away from him. And back inside the Nashville zone again with less than a minute remaining here in the period. Just over 20 seconds remaining in the Bryce Salvador penalty. Here is Orzog, hands it ahead for Yachmanev, and Yachmanev will have to chase it down. Orzog and Pronger are still tied up with each other now. Legwand has it, David Legwand. Then the scoring slump of late for the Predators, and Dallas Drake going over to help out, knocked it away. Keaton right back into the zone, hands it off. They come down to Legwand, throws it across and fired just wide. Great chance there for the Predators, and I think it was just misfired. Well, that was Holder that affected that it moved up. Now Brathwaite knocks it away. Keane has it, and the Blues back at full strength. And Demitra between the circles sends it across. Gets up. Oh boy, did he ever walk into that one? And Bokun held his ground. 10 seconds left in the period. And now Tkachuk with it, throws it back to the front of the net. Bokun stopped that one. Here's Demitra trying to set it up again. It's intercepted by Fitzgerald, and he clears it back inside the Blues zone. One goal in the period. It came on the power play, and it was Pavel Demitra that scored it for the Blues. Stay with us. Bill Pito in the Southwest Intermission Report after this.
And Walt got both cheeks into that right from the heart of the box, moving in. Tkachuk from there, I would bet he would score 7 out of 10 times.
So not a great deal of shots on goal, but you see the St. Louis Blues when they lead after the first period, a tremendous record. 9-1, 1-1. Too many columns there. That's one thing I wish the NHL would just go back to the 3 columns and put something in parentheses to designate a loss as an overtime loss. Right between the circles, they try to set up Young, and it's knocked away out to center ice.
I'll give you my vote right now to do away with that point for the losers. We're the only sport that does it, and I don't like it. I've never liked it since the inception. You play hard, you lose, you lose. You shouldn't get a point for trying hard. But I don't get to make the rules. I just have to live by it. And that would do away with your column, Dave. So that would solve the problem right there.
Exactly, it would. I'd stay with the 4-on-4 in the regular season.
Oh yeah, I like that. I like that. I might do that halfway through the second period. Do the 4-on-4 instead of waiting for overtime.
That play is onside at the line. You know, most coaches you talk to, they feel the 4-on-4 has a lot more to do with points being achieved in overtime than one team laying back because they want to protect the point and not give the other team a point. A giveaway here in Bokun. A big stop on Dallas Drake, who perhaps had more time than he realized, as the Predators have just sent it deep into the St. Louis zone.
Dallas has 1 goal this year. It's a shorthander. He's used to scoring a lot more, so I'm sure that puck came. He wasn't going to take any time. Just get rid of it, get it on the net, and hope that it goes in. He's been squeezing the sawdust out of his sticks lately.
Fitzgerald knocked down to the ice, was looking for a penalty, but no call coming. As Pronger now wraps it around for Tkachuk. He taps it, but it comes off the boards right between the circles. Taken over here by Orzog. A shot blocked by Pronger. And Tkachuk and Demitra started back the other way. Nice little soft pass ahead for Tkachuk. Got a tough angle. Gets a shot away. And Bokun able to make the stop. Blues trying to keep the pressure on. It comes back to the line. Bouncing puck. Havanoff shot. Save made by Bokun. Got the right pad on it. And back come the Predators 2-on-2. Fitzgerald into the zone, sends it across for Orzog, and that play was offside. Well, tomorrow afternoon, Capital One Bowl Week continues when Brandon Dillman and the high-powered BYU Cougars take on Dave Raygon of the 22nd-ranked Louisville Cardinals in the AXA Liberty Bowl. Action begins at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, right here on ESPN2. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
A good emotional start for the St. Louis Blues to this second period. Good scoring chances. Drake had one. Havanoff had one. Keith Tkachuk coming in. It just got deflected away at the last moment by Timonen. A good defensive job getting that stick down and over the net. And the Blues look like they are the hungrier of the two teams to start this second period. And again, we talked earlier about the inconsistencies of the Blues. Joel couldn't go looking for this effort for 60 minutes. Not for 40, not for 55, not even for 58. He wants to see his team playing hard the entire game. And he feels until they do, they're not going to move up in the standings.
Coming into action today, 6th in the Western Conference. Again, the top 8 teams in each conference qualify for the playoffs, and we're approaching the halfway mark, and it's not too early to start looking at the standings and thinking about which teams will be above that playoff line and which teams won't make it.
Pretty good hit thrown by that man right there. Varlamov on the forecheck coming in. Boom, your head's down. You're going to pay the price. And that was Mark Eaton that got run over there. Good pursuit on the forecheck. One, boom, second forward comes in. And so the hip to the head. And you know what part of the body is going to win that battle.
Yeah,
of course,
right.
The hip being much larger. On some of us, much larger than on others. Not looking in any particular direction here, Dave. But
no.
In that case, for sure, the hip is going to win the battle.
No, Varlamov was part of that Fred Brathwaite deal with the Calgary Flames. Has had a little bit of time on a couple of different lines for Joel Quenneville as he continues to try to find the right combinations to get that offense going. And Schoenfeld mentioned earlier is down a half a goal a game. His scoring is down around the league, but it's a team that used to score better than 3 a game and down under 2.5 per contest. Here's a centering attempt there by Erad. It did not get through. Picked up off the boards. Arkhipov tried to keep it in, but it was knocked away.
Lines are much like a team. You need an identity. You know, we're the grind line, we're the hitting line, we're the speedy line, the finesse line. And right now the Blues are in search not only of a team identity, but of individual line identities.
Brett Hauer steps up, number 14 for the Predators, and Leguan then was checked on the play. And it comes to Eastwood. Eastwood fake stumping it in, nearly put McGinnis offside. Now it comes to Waite. Waite drops it back. Late man in the zone there is Pronger. Pronger takes a look, now drives it. Save made it. Comes to Young. He scored! Boku gave up the rebound, and Scott Young makes it 2-0.
What a great job by Captain Chris Pronger to get the initial shot through, hard, on net, low. You see the pick right there as Pronger comes in. There's no Nashville Predator going to Pronger as he winds up a good save, initial save by Volkun. He just cannot recover in time. A perfect shot as Scrastons is a little late covering Scott Young. What a laser Young let go right inside the post. Volkun, a good save, real good save on Pronger. He was screened, good pad save, and once again left helpless in front of the net as Young pounces on that rebound and makes a perfect shot past Thomas Volkun.
Young, one of 3 St. Louis Blues that'll be part of that Team USA at the upcoming Olympics, along with Keith Tkachuk and Doug Waite. 3 of them have played as a line at times for Joel Quenneville this season. Wouldn't be at all surprised to see U.S. coach Herb Brooks use the 3 St. Louis Blues on one line. 2-0 Blues lead. Dimitra on the power play in the first, and Young here on a rebound of a Chris Pronger shot in the second period. Here is Young, winds up, fakes a shot. Now he takes it in deep, drops it off for Stillman. Stillman checked there by Bill Holder. Keeps it alive, puts it deep into the Predator zone on the far side. Now Dallas Drake just off the bench, overskates it, but it's held in. Shot from the line, trickles in just wide of Volkun. Dimitra leaves it for Dallas Drake. Drake gets it off to Tkachuk. He got a shot away, even with the defenseman Holder right in his face. Dallas Drake with it. Sends it across for Finley, and the pass a little bit behind the Blues defenseman. And St. Louis have to come back out and reorganize. Lead pass now for Tkachuk, trying to split the defense. He gets into the backhand, and boy, where is that puck? Volkun had the puck underneath him and kept sliding back. Bill McCreary never indicated a goal, and he is pointed for a faceoff, and Dallas Drake is pleading. You got to go upstairs and look at this. I know it was in. That's what Dallas Drake is saying.
And Dallas Drake is a very animated hockey player. He made the fine pass to Tkachuk. Tkachuk went in. Heads right up there, up the middle. Tkachuk, they split the D. He's going into the breakaway. He's going to pull to the backhand right here, and there's Volkun with the save.
Where's the puck? Where's the puck?
And we can't see. It looks to me almost like his pads and the momentum of his slide carried that puck across the blue line.
Well, they are
right
going
now
to take
they're
a
going to
look.
go upstairs. Yep, that's a wise decision by the officials. And hopefully they'll have a better look at it than the initial look we've just had.
Well, from the indication of McCreary, there's got to be some indisputable evidence that it was indeed a goal. And it's going to be tough to tell.
The on-ice call was no goal by referee Bill McCreary, and the only way he can be overruled by the video goal judge is, as you said, evidence that is not only compelling but really can't be argued. So we'll have to wait and see. Dallas Drake for sure thought it was in, and there's a disallowed signal by Bill McCreary saying I knew it all along. And there's Tkachuk coming in, splits the defense, goes the backhand. He's looking 5-hole. Volkun closing the pads. Now, we aren't saying necessarily it didn't go in, folks. What we're saying is the video goal judge didn't have an angle that would overrule referee Bill McCreary. So it was called no goal, and there wasn't a video goal judge review that showed the puck definitely across the goal line. So good call by referee McCreary.
Faceoff controlled by the Blues, and the shot by Havanoff steered aside by Volkun. Now Caution over there on the far side. Plays it along the boards, and Timonen will get there for Nashville. Plays it up the right wing side of Fitzgerald's pass. Does not find the mark. Havanoff will regain for the Blues. Out of Finley. Hands it off. Dimitra redirects ahead for Dallas Drake. It's picked up by Dimitra. Stick handles to the backhand. Looking in front for Tkachuk, who put on the break. Now it's picked up by Drake. Dallas Drake looking for a line mate. Hands it off to Tkachuk. Tkachuk out near the line. Drops it off Havanoff. Nice fake there. Takes it in deeper. Havanoff takes it all the way behind the Nashville net. Puts it out in front. Drake with a chance to save by Volkun. Tkachuk with an opportunity. And that is a save by Volkun. Well, Keith Tkachuk has some special holiday wishes for some special people that might be watching from elsewhere around the world.
Hi, I'm Keith Tkachuk of the St. Louis Blues, wishing all the U.S. troops and their families a happy holiday season.
Back here in St. Louis, where Keith Tkachuk and the Blues, as Jim Schoenfeld pointed out, the hungrier team certainly here in the second period. Shots on goal not always the indication, but St. Louis with 9, Nashville with 1. That is a great indication of how this second period has gone so far.
I like that line combination. Dimitra, Tkachuk with Dallas Drake on the right side. I think that's a real good fit for Tkachuk. They play together as teammates in Phoenix, and they understand each other well. They like each other. They work hard for each other. So I think Joel Quenneville may have found a good combination.
Here's Wanning. He's a player that has to get it going, and we have an interference call coming here. And I'm not sure who this is against. Nashville was the team that was controlling the puck. But it looks like it's going to be against the Blues.
Well, here's a situation where communication is key. You can see right there, 2 Predators go to Scott Young. No one pursues Pronger at the blue line. One word, you take him or I've got him, is going to eliminate that great shot by Chris Pronger and the goal by Young. You see the penalty in front of the net. Al McGinnis, and that wasn't a very subtle penalty right there. McGinnis may be a little tired. The only time he can get a rest is when he's in the penalty box. He gets to the bench. They give him about 10 seconds. You good to go, Al? Okay, back out onto the ice.
Well, this is where the Nashville Predators already 0 for 1 on the power play. Might really miss defenseman Andy Delmore, who leads the team with 12 goals, and 8 of them have been on the power play. Although in a recent game against Vancouver, they set a club record with 4 power play goals, and Delmore was not in the lineup for that game. As Ronning shot gets through, Brathwaite the save, and the rebound cleared to the corner. Brathwaite was down and thought he had it covered. Now Hartnell looking for the return pass, and Brathwaite sliding across, lost it, but the Predators couldn't get a stick on it, and Pronger able to clear. Boy, good pressure on the early part of this power play for the Nashville Predators. Now Berensweg able to gain the zone. Sends it off in the corner. Cliff Ronning turning on a dime against Pronger. Sends it in deep now. Greg Johnson overskates it. Hartnell trying to get free from a check. Sends it in deep for Johnson behind the net. It comes back to Hartnell in the corner. Head up, taking a look. Hartnell now into the face-off circle. His shot deflected, and it went just wide on the far side. Ronning sends it out to the line. Tiemann straight away. Fakes the shot, gets Dallas Drake down. It comes down to Ronning. He sends it across, and the attempted backhand pass was blocked as Berensweg sends it back to the line. This shot sails over top of the net. Greg Johnson for the Predators sends it out to the line. Tiemann back to Greg Johnson, looking right at Chris Pronger in his face. Now it comes to the near side. Berensweg drives the shot. That was blocked as two St. Louis players went down. Blake and Finley. Good possession on this power play for the Predators. 20 seconds remaining in the penalty. Quick shot up high, save. Brathwaite, loose puck, and number 40 is able to pull it in.
Dallas Drake throwing the body recklessly. No abandon, no concern for his own well-being. Trying to block shots at every opportunity on the penalty kill.
And we'll probably see more of that on ESPN's Wednesday Night Hockey. Dominic Hasek, Brett Hall, the league-leading Red Wings, as they'll play host to Paul Kariya on the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. The Wednesday Night Hockey Weekly 10 Best will count down the top moments of 2001. Action begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. For more, log on to ESPN.com and look at the list of Olympians that we're going to see just in this game. Of course, most of them for Detroit, but look at the different countries that are represented.
10-2 in that game. 10 wings, and Tverdovsky and Korea for the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, so being well represented. And you're right, lots of countries being represented. Certainly a global sport we have grown here in the National Hockey League.
Now Holder with it. Head up, takes the shot on the save by Brathwaite. He dropped it. There was no whistle.
Oh, baby.
A slow whistle perhaps, but no argument because it certainly didn't come. And a power play goal.
And that once again is the correct call by the official Bill McCreary. Freddie Brathwaite thought that he had that puck lodged between the blocker and the catching glove. He did not. Never had control.
And that young man, Denis Arkhipov, I believe, is the one that got it. Orzak was there, number 33 as well.
There's a shot coming from Holder. It's up high. Freddie thinks he's got it. He does not have it. Never did have it. Orzak kicks the puck, and Arkhipov is right there, the recipient of that little kick pass. And everybody right now thinks that it's frozen. They all freeze too, because Freddie Brathwaite seems to have the puck between the blocker and his arm. He did not. And right now, the Blues lead is cut in half by the pesky Nashville Predators. Remember, this is a team that came back in the Red Wings. 4 minutes to go in the game, down 2-0. The Red Wings, the team with the best record in the National League this year, so they're never out of it. They keep coming and coming as long as they have any wind in their lungs.
And against Dominic Hasek as well. So Arkhipov getting the goal, his 7th of the year, and Orzak, who made the alert play you pointed out, Jim, with the skate to get it over to his line mate, and Bill Holder also assisting on the power play goal. So the Predators, who have struggled on the road with the man advantage, getting a very big goal here to get them right back into the contest.
Another power play goal without Andy Delmore, and that's really a nice story. A hard time finding ice time in Philadelphia. He comes to the Preds, and boy, he's just a scoring machine for them. And that's the beauty of this game. Sometimes you change the scenery. Sometimes you get someone that believes in you a little bit. Can turn your entire career around. So we hope things continue to go well for Andy Delmore and the Nashville Predators, his new home.
And you mentioned that we're going to talk young players a lot. Arkhipov, just 22 years of age, native of Kazan, Russia. And Orzak, they kicked it over to him, just 24 years of age. Cale Hulse moves in from the point. Held it in. And now the Blues recover. Bryce Salvador to Dimitri. He clears it ahead for Eastwood. He's got Tkachuk with him on the near side. Eastwood gains the zone, puts it in deep. Tkachuk is there, takes a look over his shoulder, see who else is coming, hands it up. Dallas Drake all alone in front, waiting. Boku. Good patience, but it comes back to Dimitri, and he scores. Now Dallas Drake can't seem to find the opportunity to score a goal, Jim, but he made the play. and at least kept it alive for his line mate to finish it off.
Well, there are a lot of players that, even though they're at a bad angle, would have just thrown this puck on the net. Drake hangs on, he looks, and Pavel Demitra comes over, and he gets virtually an empty netter as you got Nashville Predators sliding all over the place. And once again, it's the line of Drake, Tkachuk, and Pavel Demitra applying good offensive zone pressure. And right there, Demitra paying it off. So I said it before, I'll say it again. I like that trio. I like Demitra with Tkachuk and Drake. It gives Demitra the size, the skill of Tkachuk. It gives the line the grit, the body checking of Dallas Drake. And Drake is a hitter that has very good hands. And you saw right there, folks, good presence of mind with the puck. So I think that combination could turn this season around for Dallas Drake offensively. Does a great job in the penalty kill. He's a heart and soul guy, always throwing the big check. But the Blues need him to score some goals or at least get some points like he did on that play.
Fifth straight 20-goal season for Pavel Demitra. That's his second of the night, and that is his 20th of the season. He played in only 44 games last year because of a variety of injuries, but still managed to hit the 20-goal plateau. Brathwaite just lets it go. And the Blues recover now with Corey Stillman. He'll just backhand it off the boards to center ice. Ronning plays it back. And it'll be Mark Eaton that'll pick it up for the Predators defensively as the Blues make a complete change with 5 new skaters on the ice. Steve Lowe trying to get in on the forecheck, nearly knocked it free. It's some careless passing by the Predators. And this is going to result in more pressure in the Nashville zone. Now finally the Predators regain control, and when Ronning was upended, no call coming. Now on back in his own zone for Finley. Finley plays it ahead. Varlamov tips it up into the Nashville zone. Ronning wraps it high up on the glass. Timonen looking to clear, but it did not come out of the zone. Mark Eaton will chase it down as we wind down to our 8.5 remaining here in period number 2. Predators got a big goal to get to within 1, and the Blues answer that. Hey, here comes Ronning with a high shot that sails over the right shoulder of Brathwaite. Now Fitzgerald in there, keeps it alive. Ronning again. Fitzgerald could not get a stick on it.
Right here, Halsey.
And Havanoff, long strides out of his own zone, flips it along the board. O'Coon could not stop it back there, but he had plenty of support. Hartnell, long backhand cross-ice feed. And McGinnis for the Blues hands it off now for Bryce Salvador. His pass was blocked, but it came right back to him. Salvador sends it up on the right side. Demitra deflects it in where O'Coon has to handle it. Tkachuk blocks it there. Drake centering pass. Demitra was there. And he was covered closely by Greg Johnson as this line comes out and immediately puts the pressure on again. Now Tkachuk takes a quick look. Oh, dangerous hit. And there's not much doubt here that Brett Hauer is going to go out for the hit on Keith Tkachuk. Now the line of Tkachuk, Demitra, and Drake showing some chemistry, showing some magic, and getting some results. It's a 2-goal Blues lead.
The St. Louis Blues on yet another power play. You'll see the cross check coming up right here. Tkachuk in pursuit of the puck, and from behind, Brett Hauer extends those arms and crashes Tkachuk into the boards. He's on the ice, so he's obviously okay.
Well, there are several key moments in any game. I would think this is a huge penalty kill for the Nashville Predators. Do not want to go down by 3 to this St. Louis team that really has found their jump and their legs here in the second period. Now Wade backhands it in deep. As you see the work so far, the Blues on the power play. Working on their 4th power play so far tonight as McGinnis wraps it in deep. Around behind O'Coon. Cale Hulse got a stick on it. Now Hulse again will try to clear. Pronger, though, able to hold it in for Tkachuk. Backhands it across. McGinnis winds up. Long shot! Right in front. Doug Wade had a wide open net. Now it's across the line, but the whistle had blown.
Bill McCreary once again in the thick of things.
Yeah.
He blew the whistle on that one. I don't know if he's saying the net was off or if he lost sight of the puck. But the Blues think that it was a quick whistle. And Pavel Demitra, how did that not go into the net? Great shot coming from McGinnis and the blue line. Demitra, I mean, it's wide open.
I'm sorry, it was Wade first and then Dimitra. Dougie Wade, you talk about squeezing the sawdust out of your
that's
stick.
right.
Dougie Wade, my goodness, just don't stop it, let it go, and then Dimitra tries to pull it. The puck is still loose, but McCreary right there, you see the whistle coming up to his lips. And it's a no-goal call. And Dougie Wade will get back to the bench and get some ribbing from his teammates. And I was trying to pass it to Pavel all the time. Anybody can score into an empty net. It takes a nifty playmaker to make that goal mouth pass to Pavel Dimitra. He just didn't bury it in time. McCreary took it away from him.
The veteran referee who has seen plenty of action in Stanley Cup Finals. And Joe Quenneville still looking for the explanation, but let's listen, because I thought live from up here in the booth we could hear it clearly before Dimitra's shot. Oh boy. Well, I'll tell you what, though, in the amount of time that it takes the referee to say the play is dead and to actually blow the whistle, in McCreary's eyes, he saw that puck still not in the net when he meant to blow the whistle. So that little bit of delay there. The power play continuing here for the St. Louis Blues that have a 3-1 lead, and Pronger's low shot redirected, and Tkachuk had a pop at it. So did Doug Wade on the far side, as Wade Dimitra looking for yet another opportunity, and this puck cleared down behind Brathwaite.
The second period has been a St. Louis Blues shooting gallery. Poor Thomas Volkun. Yet another poor performance by the team in front of him. It's just too much St. Louis Blue forwards coming at him.
Boy, a nice drop here.
St. Louis Blue defenseman. Wow. That's a pretty good one to have shooting the puck.
And it's cleared up the middle now. Here's Hartnell shorthanded. Two St. Louis players are back. McGinnis knocks it away. And then following up, Timonen got a stick on it for the Predators, but right back come the St. Louis Blues. Here is Young, winds up, fakes a shot, takes it in deep, looks out into the slot. Varlamov got a stick on it, and it trickles in under the pad of Thomas Volkun. 5:33 remaining in the second period. They've had a goal disallowed, but the Blues still coming hard. They lead it by 2. Well, Bill Pito joining us for the Dodge Intermission Report coming up. The Devils travel north, Coyotes and Sharks highlights, and the Canes and Caps in a key divisional matchup going to overtime. Martin Ebrard for the Predators able to clear it out to center ice. It remains a 3-1. St. Louis lead over the Nashville Predators. Penalty kill, the disallowed goal. Ebrard gets it deep into the St. Louis end. Blues regain control quickly now for St. Louis. Nobody open, just banks it off the glass. Moving up on the play, Arkhipov, who has the Nashville goal. 12 shots so far for the Nashville Predators, who came into this game having 30 or more shots in their last 6. You know, they're not a team of superstars, as Volkun nearly got caught going back there to play him.
He was cheating just a little bit there, wasn't he?
That was inside the post, it was in. I'm just going to finish that point there about Nashville, not a team of household names or big salaries. They still have made teams earn everything against them. And a penalty coming against the St. Louis Blues, so the Predators will get another chance on the power play. But let's get back to our trivia question tonight. Fred Brathwaite coming off a shutout against Montreal the other night. Blues have recorded 4 in their last 10 games. So who is the Blues all-time shutout leader? Glenn Hall? Could it be Mike Liut, that familiar number 1? Greg Millen with the right-hand catching glove, or Curtis Joseph? Those are your choices on ESPN.com. And Jim Schoenfeld, you.
Well, the games I've done this year, I've done with Jack Edwards, and this is usually the part of the broadcast where he tells the viewers that I haven't missed one. So I don't want to say it myself; it'd be like boasting. But Jack usually takes over here, Dave.
And you have not. Now, are you talking just in the games that you've worked, or?
Oh no, work, watch, doesn't matter. but I don't want to say it.
Here's the hit.
That's a hit by Tkachuk. Yeah, Dave, you haven't mentioned it yet.
How many have you missed so far this year? Because I have not caught every one of your telecasts, I'm sorry to say.
Oh, you haven't? I thought you were taping them. You do enough critiquing. I thought you were taping them and watching them, for Pete's sake.
Well, I'm used to working with Darren Pang, who doesn't know the answer, but always sees the production guys building the thing at the beginning of the night, so he sees.
So he steals the information.
So he steals the information. Predators on the power play where they have scored their only goal and can get back to within 1 again. with under 4 minutes to go in the second period. Hartnell's shot hits a skate. Picked up on the far side, though. Berenswijk able to keep it alive for Ronning. Now it comes to Timonen again. Timonen with a drive and a save. Brathwaite loose puck. Brathwaite finally able to squeeze the pads together.
Real good shot by Timonen from the blue line, and the big guy in front of the net, the big 19-year-old Hartnell screening, jumps out of the way so as not to block the shot. Freddie Brathwaite, good positioning. Again, square to the shooter, and here comes this good shot. Timonen head up, and there's Hartnell, and he's looking for the rebound. Finley comes back. Legwan takes a whack at it, and Freddie Brathwaite closes the pads right there and makes sure that puck stays underneath him. And the whistle by the official and a face-off to Freddie's left.
Scott Hartnell just 2 goals in his rookie season last year, has 6 this year. Playing in important situations for Barry Trotz.
Power play, killing penalties tonight.
Berenswijk holding that puck in. He
baby.
pulled down on a penalty here, and still a minute 4 in the Tkachuk penalty, and a 5-on-3 opportunity now for the Nashville Predators.
The second period, folks, has been all St. Louis Blues, but it could turn around in a hurry here, and it's Mike Eastwood going on the offense, and the puck is turned over, doesn't clear the blue line, has to come back in the defense. And Mike is not skating as quickly as we have seen him in times past. He gets the big stick out with the reach, doesn't keep his feet moving, and so he's in the box with a hooking penalty. So a real good opportunity for the Nashville Predators. As we mentioned, there is no quit in this team in the black uniform. As long as you keep them in the game, they're going to keep coming. And once you get them out of the game, they're going to find a way to climb back into it. So Barry Trotz looking on, hoping they can get 2 on this power play. 1 5-on-3, and the next one 5-on-4.
Well, they've got time to do it, Jim, with just under a minute remaining in the 5-on-3 as Ronning sends it back to Timonen now. Ronning a one-timer, he scores, and still plenty of time to work on the 5-on-4. Tkachuk will come out of the box, still a minute 47 left in the Eastwood penalty, and you couldn't have diagrammed it any better if you were still coaching.
I didn't diagram it that well when I was coaching. But anyway, a great one-timer by that man, Cliff Ronning, who is in his 973rd hockey game. Pronger makes himself a small target there. You want to block shots, you got to come out, be a big target, make the player shoot around you. I always found when you close your legs like that, you're just a great big tall screen for the goaltender. Ronning, heads up player, gets it right beside the leg of Pronger, short side goal. Cliff Ronning, 5'8", 170 pounds. He's going to play over 1,000 games in the National Hockey League. And we talk about the courage of the big bruisers and the bangers and the guys that scrap. How about the courage of a guy that small to get on the ice with those players, compete at the high level that Cliff Ronning has competed at his entire career. Right now he's the leading scorer for the Nashville Predators. And what a great heads-up play he made on that goal.
Well, let's focus on Cliff Ronning a little bit closer. In his 15th season of professional hockey, his nickname is Rat. And you mentioned he's closing in on 1,000 games and spent an entire season in the late 80s playing over in Italy and very active in local children's hospitals in the Nashville area. So Cliff Ronning.
One of 3 rats, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's right.
Nashville Predators. We've got E-Rat, we have Tink Rat, and then we have Cliff Ronning the Rat. So Barry Trotz making sure the other guys have different nicknames, or he'd always have too many men on the ice.
And a shot is blocked in front and cleared away before Nashville could get to it again. Speaking of rats, that reminds me that Scott Mellenby also out of the lineup for the St. Louis Blues. Forgot to mention him because we know what he did to the Rats in Florida.
Very good, Straits. Did you do a James Cagney impersonation?
Oh, you dirty rat.
Very good.
Oh.
I know you're thinking, but I'm telling you right now,
the
rat thing's been done to death. I can see you thinking there. Forget it, Dave. Forget it. It's over.
That's history. Just like you showing up in the Sports Center video of coaches blowing their cool. I mean, I can't believe they reran that one. Well, the best way to follow the action of every NHL game is NHL Gamecast. NHL Gamecast provides fans with live scoring, shot charts, and game stats. NHL Gamecast available on ESPN.com as well as NHL.com.
I didn't see that thing that you are mentioning, but some people did say it was called the meltdown. Little did they know at ESPN I was in complete control. That was not a meltdown. And my good buddy Don Kaharski lives right here in St. Louis. So happy New Year to Coho and his family. Because he and I have forgotten the whole thing. It did happen 25 years ago after all.
And he did appreciate the box of donuts that you sent him for the holidays.
Sometimes you just will not let things die.
Martin Erad dumps it deep into the Blues zone. Still 12 seconds remaining in the Eastwood minor penalty, and now Pronger sending it on the near side for Jamal Mayers. Brett Howard comes in for the point. Still the Predators with control, but it's on the perimeter, and out of the box comes Eastwood. Perfect job by the Blues to wait till he's outside. Will he get control? He does, and he scores! Oh, Mike Eastwood got the goaltender to open the 5-hole, and he made the perfect shot. It is 4-2.
Well, did he ever pull himself out of the doghouse in a hurry with that goal? It was Mike Eastwood, if you remember, that put the St. Louis Blues down to a 5-on-3 situation. Out of the box, great reception of the pass. Heads up play, and he's the second Blue that has gone in unmolested. Kachuk the other, and they both tried to go 5-hole on the backhand. So maybe there's a scouting report that we don't know about, and right there Eastwood getting the job done. Kachuk, as you remember, was a disputed non-goal. Dallas Drake thinking that Vokoun had carried that puck across the goal line that Kachuk tried to stuff through his legs, but no mistake by Mike Eastwood. So you go from the doghouse to the penthouse in a hurry in this league sometimes.
Well, they had a lot fewer goals in their last 9 games, all with Mike Dunham in goal, but giving up 4 and on the road, and that means they have to score at least 2 more. But this Nashville team has scored 3 or more in 5 of their last 7, so they haven't been a team that has scored only 1 or 2 themselves. They can be dangerous offensively, and as you pointed out a couple of times, Jim, they just do not quit. Don't expect that to happen tonight. But what a play by McGinnis, because when Eastwood came out of the box, he went across the center ice line, and if McGinnis had just passed it right away to his wide open teammate, it would have been a 2-line pass. But McGinnis very calmly gained the blue line and then made the play that allowed Eastwood to walk in, and Eastwood showed very good calm to get control of that puck.
Well, Al McGinnis is the leader right now of all active players in the plus-minus column, so it's no surprise that he would make a heads-up play. He's had a heads-up career, that man. He has never been a minus player in his entire career. A couple of times he was even at season's end, but never been a minus player. He's certainly not going to be a minus player this year. And he just doesn't seem to slow down with his skating, certainly with his shot. Everything is looking as good as it did 10 years ago. And I think for a defenseman, sometimes the older you get, the smarter you get, you play your position better. And so you don't have to run around or skate as quickly as you did when you were a little bit younger. So it really looks like they haven't lost any speed at all.
Final seconds of the second period, counting down. And Vokoun just drops her off for his defense. And it's been a much more active second period on the scoreboard. After just 1 goal in the first, the Blues got 3 in the second, including 1 from
Defensive opportunities for the Blues as they had in the second period, and they were paid off big time. Pavel Dimitra, bang, bang, bang. Good pursuit by Kachuk and Drake. That line looks real good. Here's Eastwood putting his team down 2 men short, and Cliff Ronning the ensuing power play. Great one-timer past Brathwaite out of the penalty box. That's the same Mike Eastwood. The feed from Al McGinnis, and a nifty backhand between the legs of Thomas Vokoun. So as I said before, from the doghouse to the penthouse in about, what do you think, 3 seconds it took him to skate from center ice in?
That's right.
And St. Louis Blues tonight, some good scoring from the big boys, and they have a lot of big boys. They did a big boy list of the Predators. It might be maybe 1 deep there. I don't know who you would put on it. Young team growing, but improving every time onto the ice. And as you mentioned earlier, Dave, never, ever an easy game for any opponent. They make their opponents work for every point they get. Tonight, they've victimized themselves by making some neutral zone coverage areas. So their D has been split a couple of times. And that's just inexperience, and sometimes not having the big name, the big salary people back in the blue line that some of the upper echelon teams do. In time, those guys will be there. And I really think once the Predators get into a position where they become a perennial contender, and David Poile is a real good builder of establishing a team like that, they will be there for a long, long time.
Well, a tall order for a lot of reasons against this St. Louis team, and the Blues, as you can see, like most teams in the National Hockey League, very difficult to beat when they had the lead after 40 minutes. Joe Quenneville's club 12-1-2. so far in the 15 games that they've had the lead after 2 periods of play.
People always ask me about that stat. Why is it so difficult to beat a team in the NHL when they have the lead after 2 periods? And my logic is that they're playing better. That's why they have the lead after 2 periods. So it's bound to be their game unless something breaks down. And right now, unless the Blues beat themselves, I don't think the Predators are going to be able to muster enough offense to beat them, because the Blues are a good team from the blue line back when they're playing at the top of their game.
But the Predators only have to look back, what, less than 24 hours?
Absolutely.
They were down 2-0 and facing a team that probably also had a great record leading after 2. And look out here, a puck hits Chris Pronger, excuse me. Chris Pronger goes down. That shot from the line, I don't know if it was tipped.
Oh man, we could hear that smack from way up here. I hope it was the helmet that was smacked, but I don't think so by the reaction of Pronger and the trainer.
But at least he is moving and getting up under his own power. That is a great sign.
It was that same Chris Pronger a couple of years ago that blocked a shot in the chest.
Yeah, that
and
was
he
in
had
Detroit.
A heart attack. And here comes this shot from the blue line up high. Whammo. And Chris Pronger just not enough time to react to pull the head out of the way. And you know how quickly that puck's coming, because your natural instinct when somebody's coming towards your head or your eyes is to remove the target. So you know that had to be coming very quickly, because his natural instinct didn't even have time to react there.
It did look like it may have hit a stick of a teammate too. It was a high shot when it left the stick of the Nashville player. Blues gain control, and it's out to center ice, and O'Kuhn waved at that puck with his glove as it sailed up over top of the net. Varlamov in there on the forecheck, but the Predators come out with it. Drake Johnson gets it deep into the Blues zone. Kavanaugh back to play it. Now it's recovered by Jamal Mayers. Mayers under some pressure. A couple of Nashville Predators are there. Now Drake Johnson gets in on the forecheck. Johnson, Ronnie Hartnell out there for Barry Trott's club. There's Mike Keane, Jamal Mayers, and Varlamov for the Blues, as Varlamov could not hold that puck in. This icing, though, waved off, so O'Kuhn goes back to play it.
Important for the St. Louis Blues to play the third period the same way they played the second period. Very aggressive on the forecheck, applying good offensive zone pressure, creating turnovers in the Predator zone, and then capitalizing on those turnovers. I don't think it's good advice for them to try to sit on this 2-goal lead, dump it out, and allow the Predators to keep coming at them. As you mentioned, they believe they can get the job done, because 24 hours ago they did get it done against Detroit.
Now McGinnis with it. Does it across for Salvador. Back to McGinnis. 2.5 minutes gone by here in the third period. Drake sends it over in front of the Blues bench. Tkachuk plays it ahead. Pavel Demitra unable to get loose, but staying on top of the Predators to force the turnover. Now it comes to McGinnis right point. His shot hit a skate in front. Trickles toward the goal line, and O'Kuhn had to react quickly, rolling to his right.
That may have changed direction a couple of times. A lot of traffic in front of Thomas O'Kuhn. He stayed right with that shot, fighting to see it. And that's so important for goaltenders when a screen is set up in front. As you see that little wrister from Al McGinnis, always on target. McGinnis, very important that the goaltender fights to find that puck. Nothing worse for a goaltender to do after the puck goes in that he doesn't see it, to put his hands up in the air and tell his teammates, man, I didn't see it. They're on the bench saying, you better fight to see it. That's your job. And O'Kuhn did a real good job there of tracking that puck down and making a very important save for the Predators.
Looks like it may have hit both skates of Mark Eaton as it pinballed toward the Predators' goal. Now Scraston's playing around the boards. Hartnell knows he's got somebody coming down on him. That's Kavanaugh that came in for the point. And Scraston's now for the Predators. Lifted it to center ice, but Reed Lowe was there to knock it down. Lowe starts it back. Hands it off for Corso. Corso goes rink wide. Eastwood sends it back in deep behind O'Kuhn. Corso gets there. In deep for Reed Lowe. Lowe being pressured there by Bill Holder. Holder along the boards. Finley came in from the point for the Blues. Lowe coming over to put on a hit. And the veteran Bill Holder sends it ahead now for Hartnell. And Hartnell pushes it back into the Blues zone. Hartnell was upended, much to the delight of the Salmon Center crowd. Scraston's at the line, nearly able to hold it in. As Hartnell with it now. Backhands it deep into the blue zone. And Hartnell and Reed Lowe having some words, and Lowe wanted to go with Hartnell, and Hartnell decided against answering that challenge. And Brent Peterson, the assistant coach for Nashville, I think told Hartnell, don't worry about it. It wasn't the time to do that anyway. Lead pass behind the defense. Here's Corey Stillman to the forehand. Oh, and somehow Bocoon stopped it right at the goal line. Mark that save down if the Nashville Predators are able to mount some kind of a comeback. That's what you need your goaltender to do. Here is Young dancing around a check, but the puck rolls off his stick. And Yatsmanov starts it back now for Nashville. Hands it off for Legwand. Legwand's pass, though, is knocked away. Here come the Blues 3-on-2. Could be a 4-on-2. Wade sends it across, and it deflected off of Stillman. And just wide of Bocoon. Here is Wade again. Try to snap a pass to Stillman. Stillman's got Young out in front with a shot. Right tap save Bocoon. And the puck cleared.
Well, I guess the Blues were listening. This is the way they should play this period. Keep the offensive zone pressure up. Do not allow the Predators to get their offense on track. A real good shift there by Young, Stillman, and Doug Weight. And this is the breakaway. Look at this move here. Boom, right, left, stop. But Bocoon, both legs spread post to post. And that's got to hurt the old groins. Great pass by Dougie Weight to set Stillman in all alone. His head's up. He knows what he's going to do. Pull backhand, stop, forehand. Look at those pads. Those skates were on either post. I'm sure Darren Pang could do that, but it only go about halfway across the net, so it would have been a goal with Pang in there.
Well, actually, he and I were doing the game when Dominic Hasek made a similar save against the Blackhawks last Sunday night on Steve Sullivan on a very similar move. And Darren made the same comment.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I wasn't speaking out of spell.
Oh, no.
I thought you were going to say that you and Darren were doing the splits together when you first started that. I put a real bad mental picture in my head, I'll tell you.
Not even going to respond to that. As the Blues have it at center ice. And a lead pass again. Keane nearly catching the Predators on a bad change. Well, Thomas Bocoon with a couple of nifty stops to keep his club to within 2.5. As I see that, he takes his eye off the puck, and a wrister from the blue line gets underneath him. And it doesn't matter how many great saves you make. You let in one like that, and that's all that people remember.
Goaltenders are judged by the ones they let in, not by the ones they stop. And this is just a quick wrister. I don't know if that goes off. No, it doesn't even hit Darren's wake. Bocoon went to play with his glove. His 5-hole was open, and I believe he deflected that into his own net off the heel of his glove. And there's nobody in the building that feels worse about that goal than does Thomas Bocoon. Even Barry Trotz doesn't feel as bad as Bocoon does. And Varlamov is thrilled. You work hard, you get great scoring chances, you're stymied, you throw it to the net, and you get yourself an easy goal. And that's a huge goal for the St. Louis Blues.
27, Bryce Salvador.
Bryce Salvador getting the only assist on the goal by Varlamov, his 4th of the year.
He's been an offensive fire, Bryce Salvador. He scored 3 goals in 5 games leading up to this one. He's not known for his goal-scoring ability. Assists tonight, so production coming from some unexpected places, wearing a white sweater. And Bryce Salvador, a stalwart back in the blue line, getting involved in the offense.
Originally a draft pick of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Blues fans lose 5 goals tonight. These tacos are only 35 cents.
Tampa Bay Lightning, John Tortorella's crew. They're the team that ended the home unbeaten streak of the Nashville Predators. Went in there with Nikolai Hovey-Gould and beat them 1-0. And it's a pretty darn good year that the Tampa Bay Lightning have been having.
Well,
that was
Doug
a pretty
Weight,
darn good save that Fred Brathwaite just made.
Doug Weight has some wishes for the troops as well.
Hi, I'm Doug Weight of the St. Louis Blues. I just want to wish everyone a Happy New Year, and especially the troops overseas fighting for our freedom. We're behind you 100%, and thank you for everything. Have a great holiday season.
Louis Blues have been the better team, but got a bit of a gift with the goal that was scored here in the 3rd period by Varlamov. One that Thomas Bocoon would love to have back. The Nashville Predators had gone 9 consecutive games, giving up 2 goals or less, losing only 1 of those 9. But with the compressed schedule, they felt they had to give their top goaltender Mike Dunham a break. They've got the defending champion Avalanche coming in Tuesday for an afternoon game, and then 4 straight on the road. remaining here in the third period. 38-year-old Al McGinnis. I should say 38 years young, where he keeps going and playing at the level he's playing at. Right now with the other all-star defenseman still not back on the bench, Chris Pronger. After taking a shot up in the jaw area, it looked like, earlier on in this third period. Scraston plays it back, but did not connect there with E-Rat. And Reed Lowe back to play it. Behind the net, a giveaway here. Wraparound chance for Fitzgerald. And sails wide of the post. Yachmina moves up now for Nashville. As we look across, I see Chris Pronger walking back to the bench area, and the fans in the immediate vicinity reacting as they see the image of number 44 peering down the runway. Three-goal advantage here for the Blues, and they try to just keep the pressure on Nashville as Eastwood tied up by Cale Hulse. Eastwood, though, trying to keep the play alive. He does to Reed Lowe. A shot was blocked. Now it's taken by Corso back to the line. Van Ryn shot. That was deflected, and Vokoun made the stop. Hulse trying to clear. Held in Van Ryn shot. That was blocked. Here comes Eastwood with it again. Eastwood with a shot. Glove save by Vokoun. And he will hold it there.
Good news for the St. Louis Blues. The captain is back. He's in the trainer's room getting tended to. And while he's in the trainer's room, you see right here, he's going to get a slapper. Boom.
Oh, boy.
That was a laceration to the chin, and it was May 10th, 1998. Same position on the ice that he blocked this shot at Dmitry Mironov, and it stopped his heart. You see Pronger there? And that was a scary moment for Chris and the St. Louis Blues, so it's certainly great to see him back in the ice. And just a little character in the face, another scar to go along with all the others.
Young with it now sends it out to the line. That shot does not get through. Barron's way back there, 26 for Nashville. Now Waite takes it away. Waite, Stillman, and Young out there for Joel Quenneville. Now Young goes over to get the loose puck. Mark Eaton takes a swipe at it. Here is Stillman, hits the side of the net. Waite gets to it, centering pass, and Young was just tied up. Gets another chance, and he scores! Vokoun was down, and Scott Young just roofed it.
Well, defenseman Mark Eaton was with Young and let him go for a half second. That's all Scott Young needs is a half second. You see right here, Eaton's on him, does not eliminate the stick. And Scott Young with those quick hands finds the back of the net to give the Blues a 6-2 lead.
Second goal of the game and 12th of the season.
Scored by number 48, Scott Young.
And now Fitzgerald for the Predators lobs it out to center ice. E-Rat has it there now, going one-on-one against McGinnis. Waits late man coming into the zone was Brett Howard, but somebody got a piece of his stick. Centering attempt there slapped away from in front of Brathwaite. Predators come right back on the attack. Centering pass, they missed the stick of Johnson. Back out to the line, Howard moves it across. All of a sudden, Nashville has some newfound life in their legs. The crowd reacting here to the Blues finding their offensive prowess that a lot of people expect them to show more of in the second half of the season.
And I'm one of those people. I think they're a good collection of players. They just have not molded into a good team yet.
Well, tomorrow start a full day of New Year's Eve bowl action when Louisiana Tech tries to stop Woodrow Dantzler and the Clemson Tigers in the Crucial.com Humanitarian Bowl. Action begins at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. Over on ESPN. For more information, log on to ESPN.com.
Well, what a difference a day makes. Last night, come from behind victory over the best team in the league, the Detroit Red Wings. The biggest comeback victory in the young history of the Nashville Predators. And 24 hours later, everybody's going to walk out of here with their heads hanging down, waiting for the next game to get this losing streak of one game turned around.
Now Tkachuk rolling it rink wide. Pavel Demitra has it there. He hands it off for Tkachuk. Lost his balance, but nearly able to come up with the puck again as now it's thrown over the glass and out of play. Let's get an update on New Jersey and Edmonton from Bill Pito.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. As Edmonton coming in red hot, they 5-1-1 in the last 7. Watch Bobby Holik. Puck is loose in front. And Holik, his third straight game with a goal. 1-0 Devils, period number 2.
All right, Bill, thanks very much. And this week, ESPN's Wednesday Night Hockey, Red Hull and the Detroit Red Wings will play host to the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Wednesday Night Hockey presented by Nextel. Our 10 best will count down the top moments in 2001. I have a feeling that Ray Bourque picking up that Stanley Cup over his head is going to be somewhere near the top.
That would be number 1 for me, outside of some of your broadcasts. I mean, but that's a given. I'm sure you'll be probably 3 places in the top 10.
Well, I guess we all have our different top 10 lists. Kavanaugh is spun around. Bo couldn't take advantage of it as it comes back out to the line. Baronswig with a shot. Oh, that changed direction, and you saw a quick reaction of Brathwaite there as he had to react to that puck changing direction. Now Reed low. Not sure what he stepped on over there, but the crowd giving it to him a little bit.
That was you. You threw that dime on the ice. I'm going to tell him it was you, too.
Kavanaugh rolls it in wide of Vokoun.
Well, says me muddy my hands. I'll let Reed Lowe take care of you for me.
Here comes Ronning. Ronning backhands it ahead. It's off a skate. And the Predators have to regain control, but not for very long. Finley rolls it across to Salvador as we pass the halfway mark of the third period. Blues firmly in control of this game. And it is touched up by Baronswig, and that'll be an icing call. Well, the Blues have had the best of the action here in the third, and Scott Young finishes off with his second of the night, 6-2. Well, this potentially high-powered St. Louis Blues lineup has scored 5 goals on a few occasions, but for the first time they have reached 6 goals. And that is tied for the most that the Nashville Predators have given up. They gave up 6 to Detroit back on November the 20th. As Ronning fires one over the head of Brathwaite. There's Salvador in to play it. Tries to jam it up the boards. Mark Eaton able to hold it in. A scramble in front of Brathwaite. Now Salvador will wrap it around. Stillman on the left wing side gets control and finds an opening and clears it out through center ice. You know, the Blues are a team that probably they'd say, Jim Schoenfeld, they're built for the playoffs and don't judge us until the playoffs come. And they've had a chance to get everything gelled, and who knows what will happen at the trade deadline.
I'm very confident that they'll gel. As I mentioned, it's a good collection of players. It takes time to mold good players into a good team. The one question mark I do have is in net. You need great goaltending to advance in the springtime. Now, is Freddie Brathwaite great? Is Brent Johnson great? Will they have the rest of this season to show that they are at least one of them? And you're going to need one great goaltender if you're going to take a run to the Stanley Cup, that's for sure.
Well, if you got to get by Patrick Waugh, Dominic Hasek, and Eddie Belfour just to get out of the Western Conference, goaltending better not be an issue. And that play is offside at the Blues line. Let's go back again. Bill Pito.
Our Dave, Phoenix and San Jose. Landon Wilson here for the Coyotes. Evgeny Nabokov lets it get through him, so it's 1-0, but back comes San Jose. Stefan Matteau gets the pass, off to the races, and a shot and a goal. His 4th of the year, 1-1, period number 2.
All right, Bill, thanks very much. And I don't want to leave the San Jose Sharks out of any discussion of the Western Conference. Sports Center is coming your way, 11 o'clock Eastern over on ESPN. I don't think there's any question about the #1 goaltender there, Evgeny Nabokov, a great rookie year. And following up with another outstanding campaign. The St. Louis Blues have some outstanding clubs that they have to climb over to be considered elite. As Timonen goes back to play it now. 6-2, the Blues in command over the Predators. Predators from out of their own zone up to center ice. Again, the Blues now with that big lead, they're content just to bottle things up in the center ice area.
Yeah, with a 4-goal lead, you can sit back a little bit. With a 2-goal lead, they didn't know. They kept the pressure up, added to their lead from 4 to 6, and virtually took the game right away from the Nashville Predators.
Kachuk waiting so that he would stay outside for that long feed from Pavel Demitra. Now Demitra takes it in deep, puts on the brakes, sends it back now between the circles for Drake. And this line just is dangerous every time out there. Kachuk going to the front of the net. Boy, he is a handful.
It was Demitra that bumped him off the puck.
Yeah, it was his own man.
It wasn't Billy Holder. Billy Holder had a real tough time containing the big horse. And he bumped into Demitra and lost control of the puck.
Now Holder for the Predators. Just lobs it back into the blue zone. Salvador is there, and Reed Lowe waiting on the right wing side. 6 minutes straight up left in this one. As it is fired around behind O'Coon. St. Louis Blues came in with 43 points, 5 behind Colorado, the team immediately in front of them in the Western Conference standings. Corso hands it off. Reed Lowe's shot deflected and took a strange hop off the inboards, but the Predators in position. And back the other way now. Arkhipov, who has one of the two Predators' goal, put it into the St. Louis Blues zone. But Eastwood will just send it right back in. Now O'Coon sweeping it around the boards. Hartnell taking a look. Sends it out to center right. Blake had it knocked away. And Scott Young just making sure that he cleared the zone. Scratched his long pass. Redirected ahead into the Blues zone. But St. Louis back in good position defensively. Stillman trying to clear it up the boards. Held in at the line. Now Hartnell knocks it down with a high stick and then played it. And there's the whistle. 6-2 St. Louis.
Chris. Okay. Okay. I'll take Chris's buddy. You play net?
Why not?
Look up, see blue. Labatt Blue.
Devo. Good hands.
Oh, thanks. Instinct.
Before the game started, that as Chris Pronger goes, so go the St. Louis Blues. You see tonight his ice time +4 in the hockey game, 1 assist. He's had a whale of a game. The St. Louis Blues have also had a whale of a hockey game against the Nashville Predators.
And a puck in the jaw, and in a game that's well in hand. Chris Pronger is still out there as a captain, saying, I'm going to finish this thing off. Could easily have an excuse just to say, you know what, I'm not going to take any more chances, but Chris Pronger wouldn't do that.
No, he wouldn't. I mean, this is a team that has a lot of leaders. I mean, there are a lot of former captains playing right now with a St. Louis Blue jersey on their back. But of all the leaders on the team, the Kachuks, the Keens, the Dougie Waits, the Al McGinnises, the undisputed #1 leader is Captain Chris Pronger. And he is the driving force behind the success of the St. Louis Blues.
Varlamov able to dig that puck off the inboard, plays it to Jamal Mayers, and he clears it back, where Bill Holder will take over for the Nashville Predators. Right for Yashmanev, and now Martin Erat is rubbed into the boards by Havanoff. Finley will send it around on the far side. Out at the point, it is held in by the Predators. Shot well wide, though, of Brathwaite.
You know, Dave, you're talking about the Blues, a team that's getting ready for the playoffs. A guy that's had a quiet year so far, Mike Keane. I think he's going to be a great playoff performer for the Blues.
Well, he's had a history of playing his best hockey at playoff time. As it comes to Varlamov, looking for another goal, but a right pad saved by O'Coon. And the Blues hustle to keep it in. Now it comes to Yashmanev. He's just buying some time as both teams making some changes.
Right now you've got both coaches saying, boys, if someone's taking a slapper from the blue line, get out of the way, don't block it, let the goaltender make the save. You want to get out of here without anyone getting injured. And you kind of hold your breath when you have a game that's this lopsided, because the outcome is certainly well established. Only something bad can happen from this point on.
Tankrat tries to clear, but the Blues hold it in. It comes back to the line. Bryce Salvador shot deflected just wide of O'Coon. And Dallas Drake with Kachuk and Demitra. Just over 2.5 left in this one. Arkhipov able to play it over now to Tankrat. He rips a shot. Brathwaite the save. Much of the crowd here at the Savas Center has started to get an early head start on the post-game traffic.
Well, they're only the ones that don't have your audio piped into them, because they do have those earpieces here, and you can listen to Dave Strader here at the side of the center. And not all the fans get to do that, but you know the ones that have the earpieces are glued to their seat to hear every word that comes out of your mouth, David.
Corso puts it in deep. Eastwood lays it along the boards. Cale Hulse is there for the Predators, and it's taken along the boards by Johnson, and now Ronning sends it ahead for Fitzgerald. He could not control it, and Pronger plays it back toward the Nashville blue line as they were just making a change. Reed Lowe intercepts, hands it off now for Corso. Corso between the circles, back to Corso. He scores! Daniel Corso coming to the net.
Well, a lot of players with white sweaters on getting offensively well in tonight's game. If they've been suffering, if they've been stymied, they have not been stymied tonight. And what a long night it has been for Nashville Predator Thomas Vokoun, who there gets bowled over as the puck finds its way into the net. Drive the net. Corso, Reed Lowe, and Stillman, the only player still on his feet, raises his arms as the St. Louis Blues scored their 7th goal of the evening.
Just his 3rd of the year, but more importantly, it's his 2nd goal in the last 3 games. And those are the kind of trends you look for as a player, as a coach. Are things starting to go in the right direction for guys? Corey Stillman and Reed Lowe drawing the assists. Oh, the goal by Corso. Now Lakewan. That had knocked away and it's suited back into the Nashville Predators zone with just over a minute left in this one. Bill Holder under some pressure. Got to go back to October of 2000 against the LA Kings, the last time the St. Louis Blues team scored 7 as they try to get it to Stillman. Right in the slot area, it's knocked away. And recovered by the Predators. At the late offside here, but they'll let it wind down. Erat dumps it in, and back to pick it up is Van Ryn, number 43. Now it comes to Jamal Mayers. Mayers sends it across on the far side. Dimitra looking to go wide on Eaton, gets a shot away, saved by Vokoun, and it's recovered by Arkhipov, and he sends it across now, and Pinkbrad just tapped it up into the Blues end. 20 seconds left of this one as Pronger sends it around.
Well, let us extend our very warmest wishes to our viewers for a healthy and prosperous new year, and a great debt of thanks to the brave men and women who are so far away from home at this time. Get back home soon. Get this mess cleaned up and get it over with. We miss you. We love you. And as the St. Louis Blue players will say, we support you 100%.
Well, I echo those sentiments very much, Jim Schoenfeld. It was great working with you last time here
Happy
in
New Year
2001.
to you, big boy. Thanks.
Happy New Year back in the desert. The disappointed Nashville Predators head to their dressing room. Freddie Brathwaite did not have to be great tonight, but he made some big saves. And speaking of goaltending, let's get to our trivia answer. The Blues, who have recorded 4 shutouts in their last 10 games. Who is the Blues' all-time shutout leader? Well, I know that you had this right, Jim Schoenfeld.
That's the guy, Glenn Hall.
Glenn Hall with 16 shutouts.
What a goaltender he was.
Of course, of his career. And perhaps
what a fine man he still is.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And probably the most unbreakable record playing in 500 consecutive games. I think that's the one record in pro sports that will never be broken. So the final score, the St. Louis Blues win it over the Nashville Predators by a final score of 7-2. As Jim Schoenfeld said, a lot of Blues getting well offensively. Tune in this week for ESPN's Wednesday Night Hockey. The Detroit Red Wings play host to Paul Correa on the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim at 8 Eastern. Coming up next here on ESPN2, it's RPM Tonight. For Jim Schoenfeld and the rest of our crew, I'm Dave Strader. Tonight's game has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. We'll say goodnight for now from St. Louis. Back to Bill Pito.